Hey, welcome back to the show. We've just been chatting a little bit about the current market and kind of left off before the break talking about interest rates and how that's kind of impacting um, our buyers right now. Another thing that's been a hot topic and does impact real estate was that threat of a government shutdown.
It was, and there are several different facets of a government shutdown that can affect existing transactions. And so, as professionals, I just feel like we need to be really aware, so that we can manage people's expectations, because there's anything can happen from absolutely nothing happening
Right.
to the whole shebang getting shut down, at least temporarily, right? So if the entire government just shut down, then if it's a matter of, all wires go through the Fed, and the question is the Fed operating or not, right? So, I mean, that's like kind of a worst case. I don't even know if that could happen, but people were concerned about, make sure that you tell your people that are closing next week that if wires could be held up, there's nothing anybody can do about it. We see certain situations where some government loans, if we're using a lender that's not a direct endorsed lender, some programs, the final loan approval actually physically has to go to the agency for a stamp, depending on the type of loan. And those ones we know would absolutely maybe be delayed, So just kind of a lot to mention and a lot to get your mind around. And when they talk about a government shutdown, they very often say a partial shutdown, and I'm most certainly not an expert at it. This particular one appeared to be scary because some of the remedies that they used to keep things flowing were supposedly not available. Like many agencies were going to shut down for this particular one. So again, like, we don't panic. We were committed. We were on the phone all week and, strategizing that how do we best support our agents? How do we best support our clients if we have delays? And we can't just stick your head in the ground, in the sand, and not have a plan and focus on it. And, this could be coming up in the near future again.
I would say we kind of just kicked the ball down the road a little bit, didn't we?
They did just kind of kick it down the road, and the hope was that wasn't the way that it fleshed out. And I'm like not a very political person, but my job is to be engaged with the real estate market so that we can help our agents and help our clients. And my personal feeling, without being political, is that there is a contingent of the quote unquote leadership that has an itch that they really, really want to scratch. And that is, we're going to shut down the government so that we can make our point. And so I think it would be not wise to think that it's an impossibility. I think that it is going to happen, whether it happens for 2 days and they say, oh, holy cow, we should not have gone down this path, or if they hold it up for 2 months, trying to make their point. Like, I don't know, but I know that we as professionals have to be prepared for how to guide our clients through these possibilities. So I think it would be very naive to say this is not going to happen because the leadership is too committed to it not disrupting, because it looks to me like there are folks that disruption is the goal.
That's
right?
the goal, huh?
It is the goal. So,
Well, I was going to say election years, too, tend to affect real estate.
they do. I have had a very wise real estate leader one time say talking to agents and coaching them, say an election year is a 9-month year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so get your stuff done and be prepared for the country to be distracted, in these final 3 months of the year and not really be interested in doing real estate. And, I think that there could be some truth to that. And what we've seen happen, however, like, politics was never sport like it is now. Like, politics has become sport. And so it used to be the presidential election, like once every 4 years, we would say, hey, this is going to be a 9-month year because of the election and people are going to be distracted. Well, now that politics has become sport, like every election affects people. So the question is, are we going to grind to a halt while everybody's distracted for every election, or is it going to go in the opposite direction where people are going to say, oh, we're so used to all this turmoil right now that we're going to live our life. And we just don't know. But we are coming up on election year. So you got to be with the great professionals to get you through these transactions, I'm telling you.
I think another thing that you mentioned that's important to keep in mind is that everything that we're going through is temporary.
Yes.
So the situation that's here, the questions that are coming up, this is a temporary situation. If there's a delay, it's a temporary delay. It's not forever. It's not, it's not that you can't get your house if there is a little delay. Delays happen in real estate, from time to time, and it's something we try to avoid, but sometimes it happens. They're temporary. We find the solution. When the problem comes, we figure out how to deal with it. Same thing looking into elections and all the rest of it. Those are temporary time periods. And, if you get so focused on something that you don't know what's going to happen in the short term, then sometimes you miss out on the really nice things in the long term too. And so keeping your eye on your goals and what's most important to you is going to help to kind of carry you through without getting too much of this temporary situation and worry.
Exactly, which is very much the definition of worry, right? Which is, fixating on things that you can't control and becoming paralyzed by it instead of acting on the stuff that you can control. I can tell you that if you have, from an real estate agent, business building standpoint, like if you have 20 people that are in your pipeline looking to buy or sell a house, and 10 of them decide they're going to sit pat and wait and see what happens in an election, you can't change their mind.
Right.
But you still got 10 other people. There's still a bunch of people that are like, I have to live my life, and election's going to come, like, what is it, November 4th, whatever day it is. But it'll come, and the day after it, the sun is going to come up, and your life is still going to be there. So, I actually can't understand being obsessed and buried in it at all. We really try to live our own life, but it is going to affect people. And again, we have to have a strategy. We have to be calm. I can tell you that our job is to be calm, objective problem solver in the middle of an emotional storm.
It makes me think of when I was a kid, the whole Y2K thing, where everyone is so scared that in the morning, right at 12:01, everything is going to crash. Computers aren't going to work. The whole life is going to be done. Stores are going to go crazy. And of course, 12:01, nothing happens. Everybody gets up like normal, totally normal life. There were people absolutely convinced that something catastrophic would happen. All that worry, all that concern, it did nothing. And now we kind of look back and it's kind of funny that there was so much concern.
Yeah. Last week we were looking at this shutdown and we were working it Friday right up until close of business Friday. And we were like, there's not a thing we can do until Monday. And if it shuts down on Monday, we're going to see exactly what that leads to. And if it doesn't, we're going to get these deals closed and move on. And, you can't really just be fixated and worry on stuff that you can't control. That I can actually talk about for an hour if you want me to.
Well, we can't do that because we do have to go into the break.
We do. We're talking with Don Geisler, the owner of Indy Realty, and we will be back after the break and talk a little bit about the brokerage.